Good afternoon and welcome to the Bellefleur Tire Shop Grand Falls Greenfoot Rapids pregame show. It's Sunday, which means it's game day again, and the Miramichi Timberwolves making the trek up to the E&P Seneschal Center for the first time this season in an interdivision rival match that I will officially say, as of right now, the first place overall Grand Falls Greenfoot Rapids take on the Miramichi Timberwolves. So yes, as you might imagine, they did. For those of you who did miss the result on Friday night, they ended up beating the Chaleur Lightning in Bathurst, 5-3 final score to take over first place, not just in the East League North Division, but in the league overall. So that was a really good game. That was a really great game to watch. If you didn't get to see it, the replay is on Flow Sports, so you can go back and take a look at that. Now, obviously, not only that, but the game on Friday, as a result of that win, they ended up extending their win streak from 3 games to now 4 games. So this is going to be a big contest for multiple different reasons, and we're going to dissect that in just a few moments here. But this is, I think, a team that they went on a 3-game losing skid, came back and won 4 games in a row after that. That's no coincidence. They know that the best way to build up that chemistry is to hang together, and they did exactly that in the last 4 games especially. So they beat the Chaleur Lightning 5-3. The game before that, they had a shutout against Pictou County Weeks Crushers, and now they're back home to face off against the Miramichi Timberwolves. There's a couple of players who are going to make a huge difference, and we saw in Bathurst a couple of those players, and that was Oliver Plant, Loic Francoeur, and Nathan Plemont-Michaud, who were the big difference makers on the top lines in that game against the Chaleur Lightning. Oliver Plant had 2 goals. Loic Francoeur with multiple assists, and he had, I believe, a 3-point night. And Nathan Plemont-Michaud, who ended up contributing a lot, not just on the stat sheet, but on the defensive side of the game as well. So those are going to be 3 key players to watch in this game. Now, home ice advantage. This is something that a lot of people have not talked about, and I want you to keep this in mind through the course of this matchup. The Grand Falls Rapids are the only team left this season that are undefeated at home. They have not lost a game yet on home ice. This gives them a lot of momentum. And with the fans pouring in, giving a lot of support, it's really helping them out. I got the chance to talk to a couple of the guys last game and, briefly after the game in Bathurst. And the fans are really, really there to help. So they haven't lost on home ice as well. So it's going to be a big game for that reason too. Now the Miramichi Timberwolves. They won against the Grand Falls Rapids the last game 4-3 in Miramichi. So the series is dead even at 1-1. Both games were at the Miramichi Civic Center. The first game, the Rapids won, and then the second game, the Timberwolves won. So this is going to be a game not just for a good chunk of the division. It's for the Rapids to stay, obviously, in first, put some distance between them and Chaleur, who ended up losing to Edmundston last night. That's going to be a team to watch as well. But right now, the standings are very, very tight in the sense, like, we'll put it this way: the Miramichi Timberwolves, are only 5 points out of first place, or 6 points out of first place. The Rapids have 21 points. That is the equivalent to 2.5 wins. So if they win 2 games and they go to overtime, they end up overtaking Grand Falls for first. That's how close this division race is through the season. So it's important to note that this game, though Miramichi is in last, they are going to be fighting tooth and nail, no pun intended, to get back to that first place spot. And while it's not going to be an easy game, if Grand Falls continues to play the way that they did on the power play and on the penalty kill, this could be a very, very easy game for them. Now, nothing comes easy in life, but this could be, if the Rapids play their game, one of the better games that they've had. So we're going to get into the stats real quick. The Rapids 10-3-1 on the season as a result of that win in Bathurst, as we mentioned. The Miramichi Timberwolves 5-7-0-1, sixth place in the Eastlink North Division. Thatcher Hughes leading the way in goals with 7 for them. Nathan Plemondon-Michaud leading the way in goals for the Rapids with 9. Elliot Robert on the other end of the spectrum, 8 assists on the season. Zachary Michaud and Jonah Lear tied for assists with 11 points apiece. And then Alexis Doucette leading the way in total points for the Timberwolves with 13. A three-way tie between Michaud, Leard, and Plemondon-Michaud for 17 points and the team lead for the Grand Falls Rapids. Now, this is where it gets a little bit dicey. So obviously the goal differential is, pretty big. There's a 21 goal differential for the goals for. The Miramichi Timberwolves with 41 goals for, been struggling to put up the offense a little bit. And the Grand Falls Rapids, on the other hand, 62. And a lot of those goals, 25% of those goals are on the power play, and we'll talk about that in just a moment here. Their goals against, however, dead even. So the Rapids have allowed 40 goals against, so have the Timberwolves. They played a decent defensive game, Miramichi has. But still, the Rapids are tied for one of the, I believe, second lowest goals against in the entire league. This is where things get a little bit interesting. So special teams. It's going to be effective power play against effective penalty kill the whole game. The Miramichi Timberwolves and Edmundston Blizzard tied with 21.2% on the power play. The Rapids, on the other hand, despite struggling for the first 3 games of the season, they ended up turning it around and are now 25% for the division-leading first-place power play. Now, when you look at the penalty kills, the Rapids in first at 85.2%, and the Miramichi Timberwolves 84.3%. So, with that said, what type of game is it expected to be? Now, I think a lot of people know from the history between these two teams, it's obviously not going to be a clean game. Like, it's not clean game in the sense that, like, there's not going to be any penalties. There definitely are, and you know there's going to be. But like I just said, it's going to be effective power play against effective penalty kill, and it's just going to be a sort of a battle on who's better on the special teams. Will it be Miramichi's power play? Will it be Grand Falls' power play, right? Are they able to capitalize on those 5-on-5 chances or 5-on-4 chances on the man advantage? Or are they going to do a good job of killing off the penalties despite what they're able to do? So with that said, I think this is going to be a big game for the Rapids in terms of not just extending their winning streak, but keeping themselves in that first place spot, but giving themselves a little bit of leeway to get ahead and break out a little bit in the race for that first place spot. So not only are they first in the division, but they're first in the league as well. So that's a big important note here. Head to head, I mentioned that the season series is tied 1 apiece, so both teams are going to be looking to get themselves ahead in the season series. And obviously with the 2 goalies that are very solid, I would expect nothing less than a very close game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I know the last time I said that it was going to be a very close game, the Rapids ended up winning 4-0, and it was a lot closer than it looked on the score sheet. That's for sure. So with that said, the Rapids have a couple of keys to the game here. Number 1, score that first goal early. We've been talking about that all season, but to be completely honest with you, that's going to be the honorable mention. Apply that high pressure on the Timberwolves defense. That's going to be the number 1 key to victory here, because you know that Miramichi is a very strong defensive team. Despite being in last, the last 3 games especially, they've really started to show through in their defensive skills, and they're limiting those chances for the breakouts in the neutral zone. They're stopping those pucks from getting across the blue line and doing everything they can to do that. Now, second one, neutralize their top forwards. Thatcher Hughes, Alexis Doucette. Their lines are similar to Grand Falls in the sense that, like, they have that 4 producing line mentality. They don't on a one superstar alone. They've got a full team of very effective forwards. So neutralizing guys like Thatcher Hughes, Alexis Doucette, Kane, you name it. That's going to be a huge, huge, huge key to the game, because especially on the power play and the penalty kill on the special teams, you want to make sure that if your PK unit's out there, you're not letting them get anywhere close to your blue line or drive the puck in at any chance that they get. So that's going to be another big game and key to the game. So, and the other thing here too is solid defense on the Rapids side. We saw the last game. First period, they had a lot of really great saves, or Adam LaCour had a lot of really good saves, which is going to tie into the next segment as well. He had a lot of great saves in that game against Bathurst. However, I felt that even just watching it, the defense was not really, they gave him a couple of good saves, but they really weren't helping him out that much in the first. It was the second where the forwards really shone through, and then the defense started to come around and make a lot of really great shot blocks and big hits. As you saw, Reed Calder was one of those players getting in on the hits for the forward core, but he's another one that we'll talk about later on as well. So getting that defensive kind of prowess, I think, is that sense of urgency on the defense is going to be a big key to this game as well. Given the fact that Miramichi, like I said, they don't have superstars, but they do have 4 effective lines that at any given time, if they catch you out of position, it'll be a high danger scoring chance for sure. So with that said, that's what we're looking for in this game. So the Rapids back home, obviously, for 2 games after this, before heading on the road for the 3-3 November Nova Scotia road trip, where they play Pictou County, Yarmouth, and I believe it's going to be Truro from there as well. And then they've got another 3-3 weekend coming up in November as well. So they've got this game against Miramichi. West Kent comes to visit next Friday on Halloween, October 31st. That's going to be a really fun game. And then November 2nd, they play host to the Chaleur Lightning for the second time this season, rather. It's going to be a really fun homestand. So 3 games, 3-game homestand for the Rapids before taking the road for 3 games in a row, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's going to be a real big couple of weeks for them, especially heading into the month of November, which I think is going to be arguably their toughest month of the year. And if they can prove that they can stay hot, even in those 3 games, if you win 2 out of 3, ideally, maybe you win 3 out of 3. That will prove that this Rapids team is solid, able to handle the pressure, and that they are a legit team. And not to say that they aren't already, but that will further cement it for sure. So, with that said, I want to move into the next segment of the show, which is going to be the Rapids Heat Index. You know what time it is. Let's take it away. All right. Without further ado, the Rapids Heat Index Player of the Week is none other than goaltender Adam LaCour. 2 games played, 2 wins, a .964 save percentage, and a 1.5 goals against average, a shutout against the Pictou County Weeks Crushers, like I mentioned as well. He has been solid, and that's something that I think a lot of people overshadow is the goaltending that the Rapids have. They've got 2 solid goaltenders, in Jeremy Thibodeau-Soucy and as well Adam LaCour, who was fantastic. He played very well in Bathurst, made a lot of really good key saves, and that I will say this. The glove hand on this guy is unbelievable. Now, there's a couple of players that I was deliberating on choosing for the Heat Index this week, and honestly, it's when you'll see what I mean in here in just a second. The team of the week this week for the Grand Falls Rapids, they had 4 players on the Eastlink North team of the week. Adam LaCour, excuse me, I'll just pull it up here for you. On the Eastlink North team of the week this week, they had Jonah Laird, Nathan Plemon-Michaud, Mathis Cyr, and Adam LaCour. So Mathis Cyr, I think, was the other one that I was considering as well. 2 goals and 2 assists through 2 games, 4 points through 2 games. Now, he's a guy, again, who has really come in and changed the perspective of the blue line and really just, I think in a way, redefined the role of the offensive defenseman on this team, because you have that good balance now, right? You have Anton Topolnitsky, who is a fantastic shutdown defenseman, not afraid to get in front of the net and throw the body. And then you have Matthias Cyr, who's the perfect complement to his game and the offensive defenseman of that pairing. So that's something that I'm very, very excited about. And he's really kind of changed the perspective as well. So it was really tough deciding, but I think when it comes down to it, just the quality of the shots on goal and the saves and everything that Adam was able to save, I think that gives him just a slight edge. But nonetheless, honorable mention, Mathis Cyr as well for this week. I'm excited to see who is going to be the Heat Index Player of the Week for next week. Excuse me. I don't think it's going to be quite the same with having 4 players on the Team of the Week this week, but that's such an achievement to say at the very least. So with that being said, I'm going to go and get ready for game time, but not to take away from the moment here. But ladies and gentlemen, make sure that you're making noise today. This is going to be a big game. The Rapids are going to need your support. Whether you're watching at home, cheering from the TV and shouting at the TV, or you're going to be here in person, make some noise, cheer on your boys. This is going to be a big game. Rapids, Timberwolves, puck drop, 3 o'clock.